Hello everyone. In today's demonstration, we'll be discussing about integration further in depth. So we will be targeting OData here. OData is an API, REST-based API, which is now supporting, for example, in D365 in synchronous mode. If you want to perform CRUD operation. CRUD means the create, read, update and delete operations. So that can be a way when you can perform the operation on D365, consuming the data or updating the data in D365. So you can pull or push the data using OData framework available in D365, and this framework is synchronous. Synchronous means it is a real time. And there can be asynchronous as well, where batch API can be used. That is not a real time, but it can occur on a periodicity basis. So I need to just show you the prerequisite before working on this project, and this is based on SQL Server Integration Services. And using that, I will pull the data using OData connector, and then I will push the data to SQL Server based database. So I will just start with prerequisites. So you need to have SQL Server data tools installed in your machine, and that is necessary to work on integration services, for example. And then an extension need to be installed, which is called SQL Server Integration Services project, so that the integration project templates would be available. So these are main component before you can start work on this. If you have not installed it, you can install it on Visual Studio, for example, 2019, and you can see the similar steps for other versions. So I will just close it, the Visual Studio installer, and also close this because everything is installed. I will just start with a new project here, and then I will find the template. I will search the template. Integration service project is available here, and I will choose this template to start with this demonstration project. And what I need to do is I will just type in a project name. Okay, PMIS, Project Management Information System Integration. I will just create it. Okay, so a workspace will be available to me, as you can see. So what I can do is I can go to the data flow here, and it is saying no data flow tasks have been added to this package. Click here to add a new data flow task to this package. So if I can rename the package as well, and I will rename this as well as PMIS package. I will relaunch and then go to the data flow, and here I will add the data flow task. Okay, so in the data flow task, what I can do is I will just choose the source assistant to give me an option from where I need to pull the data. So here the options are SQL Server, Excel, flat file and Oracle, but I would not choose these options, so that's why I will close it. In the common, you can see OData source is available, so I will drag here this OData source. Okay, and for the destination, I can choose destination assistant. So in the destination assistance, I can choose SQL Server because I'm targeting SQL Server to have DB and a table there. So before creating this, I need to just create a DB, a user, and a table so that I can insert the data there. So first of all, I need to create an SQL Server based user and give it a password. Okay, so I will give any name here and choose SQL Server Authentication. and also give a password, and for the demo purpose I will disable the password policy and just close at this time. Then I will create a DB, name it PMIS DB, and this is just a demonstration DB. So there is no table right now. I will just give the rights of user to this DB. Just go to the user and go to user mapping node. Here just select the DB on which you need to give the right and give it data reader, data writer, and DDL admin rights. Even you can make him a DB owner. That will give all the rights to this DB. So now there is no table in this DB, so I will just create a table where I need to insert the projects. So for that I will just open a query. So this query contains many columns, so I will just remove the other unnecessary columns. Only for the demonstration purpose we will choose only two fields. Only 3 fields, and which also contains an index of project ID and data area ID. Data area ID is just a company abbreviation or legal entity, and these are 3 columns used here. So it will use PMIS DB in order to create the table definition. So I will just execute it. Once executed, I can refresh on the left hand side and a table is created. I can select the table and you can see there is no record so far, because now I have created the table. So now I will go back to my integration services and on the package definition. Here I need to define the destination SQL server. Just click the new option, and here you need to just define the server. Based upon your machine name and your domain name, you can define fully qualified name. Here I will just choose the machine name. Okay. Machine name where the SQL server is running. And then I will choose username and password, which I have just created on SQL server. Allow saving password, and initial catalog just need to choose the DB and test connection. So connection is now successful. Just press OK. So OLE DB destination is now available. I will little bit enlarge so that it is visible. Okay, so one end is OData source and on the other end it is OLE DB destination targeting an SQL server. So now OData source, I will just open it by editing it, and now you can see there is no OData connection manager. I will just create a new connection. Okay, and the new connection OData source, I will mention this to be D365 FNO, and service document location is nothing but for example, the URL of your instance name. Maybe if you are using a production instance, you can use that one, or if you are using U8 instance, you can use that URL then slash with data. So I will just show you, and once you put data here and slash, so it means this is the service document location for OData. So then you need to just select here Microsoft Dynamics AX Online Authentication and just give the user of your Dynamics instance. I am giving here the user which I am using along with the password. For the first time, it will ask the permission on the D365 end that you want to give the permission to integration services for accessing the OData services. So test connection, authentication must be successful in order for you to work on this project for any further. So test connection is now successful, and I'm using one box machine here, and same would be the result for you if you are using one box or if you are using on cloud based URL. So the result should be the same. Connection should be successful. Okay, so once it is successful, then the collections will be loaded. What are these collections? These are basically entities from D365 which are available in DMF, Data Management Framework. So these are denormalized form of various entities, and by denormalized I mean there are so many tables available in D365, but denormalized means line and header tables are merged together sometime, or I'm giving an example, and then the whole entity is shown in a DMF so that you can easily integrate it or migrate the data. So this is one kind of representation here. Once you are selecting collection, so all collections, I mean the entities will be shown as a collection to you in lookup, and then you need to choose one of the entity which you want to work on it. So the problem here is it is not alphabetically sorted. So the other option can be resource path, and now I need to give it projects path, and you can see at the bottom that automatically the resource path which I have put here is embedded to the URL. So this should be the complete path here, and then you can also preview the data whether these settings are correct. These settings are correct and working. So if the data is shown, that means it is working fine. So here you can see the data is shown, project IDs, data area ID, and all the other fields are available here. You can see this is picking up from D365. You can just close it, go to the columns node on the left hand side. We don't need to pick all the columns because that will hit the performance. So always is better, whatever the columns you need, only select those columns. So I will be needing only data area ID, project ID, and project name. Okay, these three columns. I will just verify it. Project ID, project name, and data area ID. I will be only needing these three columns. So I have only picked up these columns, and you can see at the bottom pane that only these columns are shown here. So once you have selected it, you can just close it, and then it's little bit sometime slow. So it depends upon, the tool. Okay, so now what we can do is drag and drop this node and connect the nodes. Okay, so now you need to just select the bottom node, which is OLE DB connection to SQL Server, and here data access mode is table or view fast load. Okay, and you can pick here the table name which we have created as project, and then what we can do is keep identity, and then we can also show any existing records. Since it is new table, no records are shown, but it is at least showing that it is accessible. Then you can go to the mapping node, and you can see easily it has picked up the based upon the names of columns. Easily project ID is mapped to project ID, and similarly other fields are mapped. So we can just close it. Now we need to also open the advanced editor. So sometime there are problem in data types of the fields, due to which the data cannot be synced. So we need to also ensure that thing. First of all, I will just show you OData source and open the advanced editor, because the data will be flowing from that one. We need to ensure what are the data types for the fields. So here you can see the connection name, component properties are available, and then column mapping. Same column mapping which if you can open using the edit command. In the advanced editor also the same column mapping will be shown. It takes a bit, just have patience. And you can see external column which is coming from D365 end using OData, and output column is when it is coming to this node only. and only which the column we have picked, only those are put here, others are ignored. Go to the input and output properties. Here you can see external column and output column. External columns are which are available in D365, and output columns are which are available in this node. So we'll just see here. So the data type is DT and text. So this is text format here, and let me also check here. Data area ID is also and text here. Okay, but now what we need to do is we need to also ensure in destination what are the data types. Go to the input and output properties and go to the external columns which are available on SQL Server. So here you can see the column data type is DTWSTR, that is string. So Unicode string is available with a length of 20, which would create the problem when it is flowing from the source system, because the target system should receive the data in its own format. Otherwise, sometime the data types are different, sometime lengths are different. So we need to ensure that the same protocol is followed. So what we can do here is just note down this data type, and we'll ensure from the source node. Okay, here you can see this is end text. So this will definitely create problem. So what we can do is go to the OData source and open in advanced editor. To make it simple, I'm not putting any data conversion nodes here, just using whatever is available. Also, I will just show you the data types here. Project ID is nvarchar 20 and project name is nvarchar 60. Data area ID is nvarchar 4. But since nvarchar is not available in integration services, so the same data type is translated to the string data type, Unicode string. So the length should match there. I will just so external columns we can't do anything. In output columns, so what we can do here is just Unicode string we need to place here, and also appropriately put the lengths, which is 4 in case of data area ID, and in case of project ID, is 20 and project name is 60. So 20 project ID and project name is Unicode string 60. So Unicode string is representing nvarchar here. Okay, and this is okay now. If you do any changes to the external columns, those will be reverted. Those will not be saved because those are from external system. You can't change anything to the external systems. You can only change whatever is available here. So now once I have saved it, even if I again relaunch it, so the changes will be saved because those changes are only here. So the external system columns will be translated to these types which I have just defined. In order to just ensure it, I will relaunch the advanced editor. Go to the properties, input and output properties. Takes a bit, and now you can see here, yeah, the changes are preserved. But if you have done any changes to external column, those will not be preserved. Okay, so now in the destination, you can also open advanced editor. Go to input and output properties, and here if you go to the external column, now what are the external columns here basically? See, now the data types, input columns which are coming from OData is now Unicode string. So now it is okay, and external columns means the columns available in SQL Server, those are Unicode string already. So now we are done here, and there is no error also shown. So you just need to save this package, and now I will just show you, since there is no data available so far, and now I will start the execution of the package here. You can just navigate to monitor the execution progress. It will perform certain validations, and once those validations are performed, it will start the actual operation of inserting the records. So you can see here even the number of rows are shown here, which have been written to OLE DB destination, 195 rows. So final commit for data insertion has started and ended in only seconds, and here we can execute it, and we can see easily the project IDs, project names, and even the data area ID. So this is it so far, and I am hopeful this is very clear. And the package so created in integration services can be scheduled to run on a certain time of a day, or even then we can refine the package where we can also take care about if, for example, the previous records have been updated. So what to do in that case, and if the new records have been inserted, so definitely those need to be inserted. So there can be certain condition which will check whether new records have been inserted or the previous records have been written to the same source table or same entities. So that's it for now. Thank you very much, and we'll target more features in next videos. Thank you very much.